A clear sunny day brings people out of their homes, to the local park to walk their dog, to their backyard to play a game of football, to the beach, or even to the lake. Everything their eyes see is bathed in the sun's light, even themselves. But what about what their eyes cannot see? After all, visible light is only a small fraction of a large spectrum, a spectrum that includes radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays, ultraviolet rays, X rays, and gamma rays. Out of this list, the one that poses the most immediate danger in their environment are ultraviolet rays from the sun. Overexposure to ultraviolet rays can cause erythema solare, the medical term for sunburn, and over a long period of time, it can even cause skin cancer. The Earth's atmosphere offers a natural protection from the harmful rays of the sun. That is through the ozone layer in the stratosphere. Ozone is an arrangement of three oxygen molecules. The depletion of ozone and the creation of ozone was at a balance for thousands of years before industrialization. However, that balance is no longer. That is because of chlorofluorocarbons, commonly known as CFCs. Where do CFCs come from? CFCs originate from the manufacture, repair, and disposal of insulation, air conditioners, and refrigerators. In recent history, there have been regulations to limit the use of CFCs. Wealthier nations have the economic ability to use substitutes for CFCs that are much more costly. On the other hand, developing nations do not have the ability to use these substitutes. And when faced between poverty or economic growth through the pollution of the atmosphere with chlorofluorocarbons, they have little choice. Since 1985, the thinning of the ozone's layer because of CFCs have caused an ozone hole over the continent of Antarctica through the months of September to November. In modern day, that hole is the largest it's ever been. However, some regulations have caused the exponential growth of the hole to stop. But the total healing of the ozone layer is not predicted to happen until 2060, about 44 decades from now. And that is if the world's nations keep their current course. And so, modern day people have to adapt to a weakened ozone layer. Please observe this clip from a video called How the Sun Sees Us. In the video clip, it was explained how the camera they're using is an ultraviolet camera. Just like a traditional camera observes visible light, their ultraviolet camera observes ultraviolet light. As you can see, when sunscreen is applied to their faces, it immediately creates a dark spot. That's because the sunscreen that they're applying is absorbing the sun's rays instead of being absorbed by their skin. Also, it is noticeable that people of different complexions and different amounts of melanin in their skins are still observed to have a positive reaction to the sunscreen. The sunscreen is still offering us the same level of protection. Now, how should sunblock or sunscreen be used? It is told that it should be applied 20 minutes before exposure to the sun, and it should be reapplied approximately every 2 hours, or even more often if the sunblock or sunscreen will be wearing off due to water or excess sweat. Now, there is a distinction between sunblock and sunscreen. Sunblock, as the name implies, reflects the sun's rays, Meanwhile, sunscreen absorbs the sun's rays, like it was used in the video. For either products, the American Academy of Dermatology recommends at least an SPF of 15, and for it to be broad spectrum. In other words, it will protect from a larger range of ultraviolet rays. Now, who is at greater risk of overexposure? That would include outside laborers because of their long hours in the sun, as well as people who live at high altitudes because of the intensity of the ultraviolet rays being greater at higher altitudes. Also, people who live in snowy regions are at a greater risk. That is because of the light that bounces off the white snow is polarized, causing more ultraviolet light to be bounced off the ground and onto people's skin. What about people who spend most of their time indoors? Well, a window by itself will not stop ultraviolet light, but there are window films that are specially designed to allow almost 99% of visible light to come through while blocking almost all ultraviolet light. Whatever method of using sunscreen or sunblock someone chooses, sustainability is key. It is recommended that every person finds the method of application that is best suited for them. That could be a spray-on or a rub-on application. There are also alternative forms. There is a larger range of UV protective clothing on the market today for outside laborers and people who don't want to have to worry about reapplying sunblock and sunscreen throughout the day. Also, a newer study has found that a combination of oral vitamin C and vitamin E offers a protection from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In conclusion, the weakened ozone layer due to chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, is here for a long time, and it may be even longer until the ozone layer heals if nations cannot cooperate. And so, modern day people have to seek protection via sunblock or sunscreen or alternate methods in order to not be harmed by the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays.